Hi. Alright, welcome to the show. I'm your host, John. And today, well, let's address the elephant in the room here, okay? There's a pandemic. We're all at home. We're doing nothing. Am I wearing pants? We shall see. Actually, I think you can already see. But today, we're going to go back into the dark depths of your mind and recall a little bit about the Democratic primary. Let's get to it. So this past, when the hell were these things even? This past winter or springtime, $600 million was spent on infrastructure, food? No, the Democratic primaries. That's a lot of money. Why is going to be the theme of this video here? So let's break this down a bit. After a 5-4 ruling in the 2010 Supreme Court, corporations and other outside groups, can you tell that I'm reading? Corporations and other outside groups are allowed to now spend unlimited funds on candidates in elections. This all stemmed from the conservative group known as Citizens United, who challenged the precedence of campaign spending. Citizens United is a conservative group that were stopped by the FEC, which is the Federal Election Committee, from airing a negative campaign ad about Hillary Clinton. So a bunch of people wanted to win, so they broke the game. It's like the alley-oop from semi-pro, you know? Was it legal at the time? Nobody knew. People had a hard time figuring it out. And it's kind of bullshit because the Spurs should have won the Mega Bowl. So according to the Brennan Center of Justice, so what they say on their website is that they strive to uphold the values of democracy. So they stand for equal justice and the rule of law. They're just sort of the good guys, okay? Alright, so let me get this straight. And I may be wrong because I am just a boy. But how is a candidate in the Democratic primary not formally coordinating with a political party? And the justification for this is that limiting election spending is synonymous with obstructing your First Amendment rights. And I'm going to let you take that for what it is. So flash forward to today, where we have witnessed the largest amount of spending in a Democratic primary since I don't even know when, and it's probably my job to know. But anyway, why is this a problem? Simply because the ability to spend so much money, and in doing so, polarizes the American voter base from the elections that they are voting for. Like I said, $600 million is a lot of baggage. And that amount of money is not only going to attract ads, but it's going to attract every single media outlet you can name. So now we see these debates on TV, we see these people that we hear about on Twitter, Instagram, all over social media, all over TV, and what does it do? At the end of the day, all it does is celebrify the candidates and the election process. It becomes so much harder to relate to the candidates, and it's much more unrealistic in the mind of the average viewer because, not gonna brag, but all of my money went to Amazon last week. So how am I supposed to keep up with people with millions of dollars in their back pocket? So then the abundant peripheral viewing of all of these elections and debates and issues from the American people leads to pandering. And most of you may know what this is, but I'm going to explain it just this once. Only once. It's basically just gratifying or pleasing people. So telling people what they want to hear. So let's take a look from this example from former Democratic candidate Pete Buttigieg. From Pete Buttigieg about prioritizing profit and likability over anything else. Take a look at this tweet from 2018. This is obviously a pro stance towards Medicare for all. And yes, this was a little bit over 2 years ago, but the goddamn mayor of South Bend, Indiana would have had his views in order by then.
Mayor Buttigieg, you say Senator Warren has been, quote, evasive about how she's going to pay for Medicare for all. What's your response?
Well, we heard it tonight. A yes or no question that didn't get a yes or no answer. Look, this is why people here in the Midwest are so frustrated with Washington in general and Capitol Hill in particular. Your signature, Senator, is to have a plan for everything, except this. No plan has been laid out to explain how a multi-trillion-dollar hole in this Medicare for all plan that Senator Warren is putting forward is supposed to get filled in. And the thing is, we really can deliver health care for every American and move forward with the boldest, biggest transformation since the inception of Medicare itself. But the way to do it without a giant multi-trillion-dollar hole and without having to avoid a yes or no question is Medicare for all who want it. I don't think the American people are wrong when they say that what they want is a choice. And the choice of Medicare for all who want it, which is affordable for everyone because we make sure that the subsidies are in place, allows you to get that health care. It's just better than Medicare for all whether you want it or not. And I don't understand why you believe the only way to deliver affordable coverage to everybody is to obliterate private plans.
Now the claim here is not that he's flip-flopping completely on stances. It is that at one point in time, he said something in a certain way to maximize his likability. Flash forward 2 years, he said something else with slightly reframed wording to be more likable in this point in time. And you might be saying, John, host of the Generic Politics Show, he can do that. He's a person. Ideas change. He's a person. Well, you're right, random person. I agree. I, nor anybody at this show, is a conspiracy theorist. We do not think that every single word out of a candidate's mouth is straight from his campaign manager. Like you said, random person, he's a person with views that evolve and change. But something this big and a change so precise is calculated. Calculated for likability, not only from the voter base, but from his donors. At the end of the day, this timeline may show no change in his point of view, just the way he says it. Let's take a look at who's giving Peter Buttigieg all his money. Decibel Therapeutics, Truman Medical Centers, Ironwood Pharmaceuticals. Now, I may be an idiot, but I am not stupid. These are all corporations in the healthcare and Medicare industries, and in total donated a little bit over $57,000 to Pete Buttigieg's campaign combined. But that's not all. Chrissy Walton, the mystical, magical, rightful heir to the throne princess of Walmart, committed $25,000 to Peter Buttigieg's campaign 8 months before his campaign even started. But that's not all. Walmart also made a deal shortly after with Anthem, which is a private insurer under the umbrella of Blue Cross Blue Shield for God knows why. I just want to be able to know who the hell I'm voting for. And all these backdoor, backdash, bing bang boom type of deals just make things more confusing, which leads to further polarization of the American voter base to the elections and to the candidates they're voting for. Money has shown to polarize people from politics, and goddamn, that was nice. Let's take a look at another one of the candidates, Mike Bloomberg. And now you may know him, you may not know about him, but you may know of him more so than any other candidate. Why? Because out of the $600 million of dough spent on this race, he spent $470 million of it. Right, so why worry about debates or issues when you can be in every single YouTube ad for the entire day and be the only thing anyone ever sees?
But when he witnessed the terrible toll of gun violence, he put his money where his heart is, helping to create a movement to take on the NRA and the politicians they own, to protect families across this country and help turn the tide. And he's funded college educations for thousands of deserving low-income and middle-class kids, and supported life-saving medical research, and stood up to the coal lobby and the outright denial of this administration to protect the only home we have from the growing menace of climate change. But now he sees a different kind of menace coming from Washington, so there's no stopping here.
Now, what do you think a 19 to 22-year-old is doing at this point in time? When you're so disassociated from an electoral race, if you're going to vote, it's going to be for somebody who you at least know the name of. So that was the hope here. Mike Bloomberg could get all the votes of people who didn't even know what the hell was going on. And yes, that is partly speculation, but the $470 million he spent only won him votes in the American Samoa. That's like spending $3,000 a month on a Netflix subscription and only being able to watch We Bought a Zoo. And I don't even have a problem with that movie. Matt Damon killed it, like he always does. But if I'm spending that much money a month, I want a little bit more than that. And you may be saying, John, if he's got the money, why not deal it? And granted, I'm not that far off from that. But this was prioritizing and overvaluing ad revenue and ad effects in an electoral campaign. The focus should be anywhere else but YouTube ads. Campaigning is leading in a direction where it's only about ads and only about being seen and not about the information that a candidate should be giving to the people it's trying to target. So, what's the takeaway? In conclusion, money at this magnitude spent in elections really is confusing. And I don't want to talk about it anymore.